All right, counter punch boxing. We've been gone for a few days, maybe a year, something like that. Anyway, here we go. Canelo versus Charlo. Now, just, I guess my overall thoughts and opinion, not a whole lot happening during this fight, so here we go. As many of you may, or I guess may not know, I've spent a lot of time with the Charlo brothers, and even Canelo, okay? And I can tell you, Canelo is a very down-to-earth, humble, respectful dude in person. Now, the Charlo twins are the exact opposite, okay? Very cocky, rude, disrespectful, basically surrounded by a bunch of lapdogs and yes men. So it was great to see Canelo wipe that cocky look off Charlo's face when he took a knee, and it was round 7, I believe, 7-8, whatever. And of course, Canelo still remains the undisputed super middleweight champion. Okay, so there we go. We have that, right? And no disrespect to Charlo, but like I said, I've seen how these guys act behind the scenes, and this is exactly what they needed. Someone to humble them, because, look, the last time I was around the Charlo brothers, it was probably the most cocky and disrespectful I've ever seen a boxer act outside of the ring. In fact, I put video on my channel a couple of years ago. Okay, just the way they were treating people around them, how they carried themselves, how they talked to people, how they looked at people. So, it was nice to see someone like Canelo give them a reality check. But anyway, here we go. Let's get to it. So, round 1. Okay, Canelo, a little bit flat-footed, using the left hook, going to the body. Good lateral movement by Charlo, but only 23 punches thrown in round 1. Okay, again, only 23 punches thrown overall. So a very boring, uneventful round 1. Okay, I don't even know if I would call it a feeling out process. It was just two guys walking around doing absolutely nothing. Okay, Canelo cutting off the ring, okay, coming forward, but not really letting his hands go. Okay, Charlo, we know, averaging I think something like 40-45 punches per round as a pro fighter. Okay, so as many of you know, I've always felt Charlo was a very boring, kind of slow fighter. And so this fight really wasn't just any different, from any other Charlo fight I've seen. And of course, Charlo fighting 12 pounds heavier than he's ever fought before. So obviously he's going to be a little bit slower, but also possibly more durable and powerful. Okay, and by the way, there's a difference in between a boxer that is selective with his punches and just overall unmotivated and somewhat or a lot inactive. All right, I've always felt both Charlo brothers are just very slow-paced boxers, okay? I've seen them live, I think, 3-4 times when I was ringside, and even during those fights, I believe it was Adams, this was the other Charlo brother, of course, but he was getting hit a lot, very slow. You could see his punches coming from a mile away, and I feel like, both guys kind of exhibit that same fighting style. And remember, Freddie Roach trained Adams, was it Brandon Adams, I believe, for that fight. Again, speaking on the brother, and he did a lot better than people thought he would do. But okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, back to Canelo Charlo. The other Charlo. Confusing, yes. Okay. Then I thought, well, maybe Charlo's trying to take Canelo into the deep rounds, right? Going to take him into that deep water, because we know Canelo does gas out, just like he did against Gennady Golovkin, Bivol, in my opinion, and many others, okay? So maybe that's the game plan, because I'm wondering, what the hell is going on here? I mean, of course, this is just round 1 we're talking about, so we got a long ways to go. So, literally, 1 punch landed for Canelo and 1 punch landed for Charlo in round 1. I mean, overall, it was pretty awful, okay? I mean, probably I'd say not the, but one of the worst rounds in boxing history I've ever seen. Okay, at this level, it was awful. Okay, not even a feeling out process, just freaking boring as hell, and a waste of a round. I mean, if you're a judge, how do you even score? I mean, how do you score it? Who do you give it to? Neither guy did a damn thing. Okay, Charlo afraid to let his hands go, and this happens all the time in boxing. We get this, pre-fight hype crap, and then the fighters, they never deliver. Okay. I didn't see the power of course, Charlo heavier, didn't see the power from Charlo. Canelo walking right through everything Charlo throws, and Canelo has no fear or respect for his power. But Canelo seems to be turning up his power, especially in particular to the body. I think they know that Charlo is a little heavier, maybe a little bit softer to the body, and that's why they're going for the body. And Canelo doing a great job with the body work and landing some good left hooks too. Okay, so look, even setting up the right hand, causing Charlo to keep his guard up and making Charlo a little bit gun shy when it comes to at least throwing the damn jab. Also, Canelo doing high altitude training. California, brought his family out to California for his training camp because he needed to work on his conditioning. And I've talked about this in the past, okay? And he did look a lot better in terms of, gassing out, okay? So overall, Canelo, looking pretty good. But as I said, it's a very, very boring, uneventful fight so far, okay? And I can already see the mistake Charlo's making. We all know the way you keep Canelo at bay, okay? Anyone, letting your damn hands go, right? Throwing punches and bunches. Just look at Bivol. Look at what Gennady Golovkin did. But when you let your hands go, of course, you do run the risk of getting caught. But it throws Canelo off his game, and that's how you beat Canelo. So moving forward, Charlo being a little, like I said, a little too selective, a little too careful, a little too timid. And in my opinion, he was fighting scared. I mean, this almost reminded me of, Pacquiao Mayweather, everyone expecting this big, epic, historic fight, okay? And it turned out to be a dud. And that's just the facts of the matter. A lot of Canelo fans out there may disagree, but it was boring as hell. I'd say one of Canelo's most boring fights I've ever seen. Okay, and I know, again, there's going to be some boxing purist out there that's going to tell me that, you don't understand the sweet science, bro. It's like, yeah, blah, blah. Yes, I do. Okay, but that couldn't be any further from the truth. This wasn't a chess match. Okay, it just looked like a sparring session. So there's a big difference. Okay, so a few combinations here and there, but nothing of note from Charlo. Again, it almost looked like he was just in there, I don't know, maybe for a payday, or, maybe it was his pride. Maybe he'd rather lose by decision versus an embarrassing knockout. And I didn't even see Canelo using movement. It's like he didn't even respect Charlo's power, okay? And I went back and watched the fight. And, it's like Canelo just was walking through everything, okay? Just coming forward, throwing 1-2, 1-2-3 combinations, step back, rinse, repeat. So again, he had just no respect for Charlo's power. Even Eddie Reynoso kept telling Canelo as he was standing, okay, in the corner, which I thought that was kind of an alpha move, to not get overconfident. He said Charlo is a good fighter. Don't get overconfident and make a stupid mistake. So look, even Canelo's corner could see what I could see, and that is Canelo not having any respect for Charlo. And by the way, guys, I just got over a very bad cold. That's why I sound a little froggy, so I do apologize. I don't have that classic, counterpunch boxing voice, okay? But it'll come back. So, again, just walking him back, coming forward, working the body, setting up the right hand, and if Charlo landed on Canelo, he would just basically shake it off, reset, no big deal. So, look, I will say, Canelo, dude's got a damn good chin. Because, look, any of these guys at this level, they hit hard, okay? Even your feather-fisted boxers, whatever you want to call them, your pillows, they still hit hard, okay? I think the only person that ever really hurt Canelo was probably Gennady Golovkin, Cotto, his brother, and, of course, Bivol. And one thing I will give Canelo credit for, he was doing, again, a great job at the body. I know I keep saying that, but you have to give that credit where credit is due. And, of course, round 7, the 2-minute mark, kaboom, okay? Canelo lands a big right hand, Charlo takes a knee, and that was basically the highlight of the fight, okay? And, I think that was almost paid, I didn't want to say this, almost paying $90 for the pay-per-view to see that defeated look on Charlo's cocky face, okay? Just that look, right? Worth every penny, although I didn't pay for the fight. Okay. and you guys, again, I spent a lot of time, like I said, with the Charlo brothers, and they're just cocky and arrogant, and it's just nice to see people get humbled. They're surrounded by yes men. I've been in their locker rooms. I've been in their training camps. I've been ringside, the hallways with them, just everywhere. And I've got, back then I got to know them pretty damn good. And I'll say the exact opposite, okay, painfully so, but it's a fact about Canelo. Very humble, very polite, very down to earth, okay, when you meet Canelo in person. Okay, now moving forward, okay, I think Canelo was fighting a very safe and not really taking any chances. It's a safe fight, not taking any chances. He was very selective with his punches. I think he basically knew he would win a 12-round decision. So, hey, why take a risk? And that's what really separates the old greats, from fighters like Canelo. They were willing to take a risk, put on a good show. I mean, look at Chavez, Hagler, Hearns, Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, look, we could even throw, not Mayweather, Pacquiao in there at this point. These guys, they left it all in the ring. It was about legacy, and not just protecting themselves. And I feel like that's what, a lot of these fighters do. Okay. And look, as far as, fighters that I believe leave it all in the ring, we don't have to go back that far. I mean, look at Gennady Golovkin. Look how that fight was compared, to Canelo Charlo. Okay, so again, comparatively speaking, this fight was just hard to watch. Okay, the crowd, let's talk about the crowd. They looked bored as hell. Even the commentators had a hard time selling this fight to the listeners. Okay, it almost reminded me of Canelo Chavez Jr. By the way, I was a ringside for that in Minute Maid Park. If you guys want to go back in time and look at my videos, okay? And that's one of the times I spent a lot of time with Canelo, okay, personally, one-on-one. In fact, there was about a solid 30 minutes. It was me, Canelo, Eddie Reynoso, his dad, and Oscar de la Hoya in this little room while they were getting ready to do some type of interview. So, I was just there hanging out, talking with them. I've got video of it. You guys can check it out, okay? So, again, I get sidetracked. Moving forward, nowadays, it just seems like boxing at the highest level is just very safe and calculated, okay, all the way from the matchmaking down to the punches thrown in the ring. It's not like it was back in the 80s or 90s and so on, okay? Lackluster fight, other than the fact that you can say Canelo won, okay, if you're a Canelo Charlo or a Charlo hater, that's about all you can walk away with. That's about all you get. I mean, well, other than, Charlo taking a knee. So, yeah, I guess there's that. But, really, in my opinion, just a disappointing fight. By around round 9, I almost stopped watching because I could just tell Charlo, he was just surviving, right? Just trying to make it to the bell. He wasn't switching up his combinations, wasn't leaving everything in the ring as boxers used to do, just looking for that 12th round bell. So, needless to say, another boring 12-round decision for Canelo. And that's just what it was, okay? And let me close with this, okay? Imagine you're trying to turn a friend onto boxing, okay? You pay $100 to see a fight, and it was just so boring and so uneventful. I mean, I would be embarrassed if this was that fight I had to show to like a new boxing fan. And this is why I think boxing is dying and UFC is absolutely thriving. Okay, it's just a fact, guys. Okay, okay. Of course, in closing, then Charlo calls out Terrence Crawford. It's like, shut the hell up, dude. All you do is run your mouth and then you don't back it up in the ring. Okay, I've always felt that Charlo was a good fighter, but not a great fighter. Canelo, a better than good fighter, but I don't know if I would call him a great fighter either. Okay, he's up there, and maybe I can make a video just breaking down how I feel about Canelo. A very protected, padded fighter. Adelaide Bird, we all know what happened there. Just these judges and their pockets. The mixed matches, just all that. Whatever. You guys know. So, but again, I do want to give him credit because he's done a lot over the past few years. I do think he's on the decline. He's slowing down, and I think the evidence is what we saw last Saturday. Okay, and Charlo at this point, I think he's just chasing money. Again, not about legacy; it's about getting paid. I think a lot of boxers kind of got that Floyd and Mayweather syndrome. So, I mean, there you have it. Okay, I could have done, a really kind of a deep dive style video breakdown, but honestly, I don't think this fight deserves it. Right? I don't think this fight deserves that type of attention from any boxing analyst, okay? And I don't mean any disrespect towards either guy, but this fight will be forgotten, and only about 5 seconds of it could be used for a Canelo highlight reel. And again, that was round 7, the knockdown, and that's it. I mean, other than that, it was just, in my opinion, a really bad fight. All right, so there you have it. You guys look, a very uneventful fight. The most memorable moment, the 7th round knockdown. I mean, so yeah, it didn't really do anything for Canelo. It made Charlo a lot richer. He'll move on, bigger, better things. Go back to his division, get a big fight, get paid again. And that's what it's all become. Boxing has become nothing but just one payday after another. And I think, look, if you're one of these boxing fans that's still out there paying $80, $90 for a pay-per-view, you're insane. Now, I understand when they say, oh, you got to support boxing, bro. I get it. I do. I've been supporting boxing for 10 years, but I support amateur boxing, upcomers, people that don't make 10, 15, 20, whatever million per fight. Okay, so did I pay for this pay-per-view? Absolutely not. And thank God that I didn't, because I would have been pissed. Okay, so leave a comment below. You tell me what you think. I think all in all, it's just my opinion. I think this was just a bad look for both guys. It was a disappointment to the sport of boxing. And, I guess I would have been better off watching UFC. So, all right, leave a comment below, and we'll be back in probably like a day or two, or like a year or something.